Here we are in the Playboy Radio studios. You got Bridget Phetasy. Did I say it right?
Phetasy.
Phetasy.
No,
Like fantasy?
It's like fantasy and fetish combined.
Nice.
Fantasy and fetish combined.
Yeah.
You got pockets. We got Daniel over there.
What's good?
What's up, baby? All right, we're going to go live on Dash Radio. We'll be live on... Oh, that's what I have to do.
Do I have to put my headphones on?
As soon as we go.
It'll make it easier for you to hear everything if you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, you'll be so adorable with them on.
Oh,
And with these mics, you kind of want to talk pretty close to them.
get up on them.
Yeah.
Get up on them.
Yeah.
There we
You
go.
can turn down your headphones.
And then here's your volume right here if it's too loud.
Share to a page. That's what
The one.
the guy you talking about.
There we go. Okay. All right. There we go.
Right now.
I feel like
1
I'm
minute.
a disaster right now.
You look adorable.
You look beautiful. Wait, show you're repping your team.
What up, Patriots Nation? Woo-hoo! I'm gonna glow for like 2 weeks. At
That was
least.
a good game.
I
Did you
never
say that
got
win
it.
was better than like the best orgasm you ever had?
I think it was.
You
I
haven't been around
couldn't
the
sit
right
down.
man.
Ready?
No, I mean
I'm
I
right
had
over
some
you.
great orgasms, but I love if I can I swear?
You can swear.
Okay.
Swear.
I love
Daniel doesn't mind.
I love them.
Plus, Tom Brady's adorable.
He's just a god among men. He's Zeus.
Cutie pie. And his wife's hot, too.
Yeah.
I'm sure their
He
kid is
has
beautiful.
the
Totally.
best life on planet Earth.
They're not going to say when he dies he went to a better place.
No.
It's like him and Mr. Hefner. They're in good places right here.
Yeah, they're fine. They're,
Yeah.
All
they're
right, here we
doing.
go. And
We're going to go live on Dash in a minute.
Maybe. Don't jinx it.
You tell me when. Playboy Radio's Holli and Michael live. Modern Love powered by Dash Radio. You've got me. You've got pockets. One of the beautiful brunettes sitting over there. You've got Bridget Phetasy.
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 Fantasy.
Well, I want to
Phetasy.
combine fetish
Phetasy.
and fantasy
Feta
together.
cheese.
We
Oh.
looking good there, Daniel? Everything looking good? What do you think?
It sounds a little like
So
Famunda
just get it
cheese.
off. We on? We're good? You tell me.
yep.
Oh, everything's good. Daniel gives us a green light. Can I just say Bridget then? Is that better?
Bridget's fine.
All right. But I like the fact you introduced yourself to us saying you got to combine fetish and fantasy for my last name.
That's everyone's like, is that how you came? I made that word up. It's a long story. I won't bore everyone with. But basically, I was looking for. I started a company called
Right.
Phetasy. It went bankrupt. 'Cause I'm not a good
Hey!
person.
Okay, that's all right, but at
You
least
tried.
you
You
tried.
Maybe
tried.
I can be president someday.
Seriously. But at least you tried.
6 more of these, and I'm on my way to the White House.
Yep. Tom Chambers said, did we just compliment Tom Brady's wife? We sure did. We complimented Brady. Great game yesterday. Whether or not you are a fan of the Patriots, if you're a fan of sports, oh my God. This is the year of comebacks, though. Think about it. Down 3-1, Cleveland comes back and beats
Yeah.
the Warriors. Down 3-1, the Cubs come back and beat the Indians. Down 28-3.
I know.
28-3, Brady comes back.
I actually said to my cousin on the way to our other cousins.
A lot of cousins going
A lot
on.
of
here.
cousins.
I'm Irish Catholic.
Yeah.
My dad's one of 10. There's like a cousin in every state.
What did you say?
No, I was like, I think the game in regular time is going to end in overtime. And
First
then-
game in the history of the
Yeah.
Super Bowl to go in overtime.
Absolutely.
Let me introduce you, though, so people know who they're looking at there, beautiful you, and listening to. You are a columnist for Playboy.
I am.
If you go to playboy.com, easiest place to find your columns. You have
Just the
been
tips.
just the tips.
Tips. I like
That's the
that.
name of the column.
How long have you been writing for Playboy?
Since April of 2015, I did my first freelance piece for them. And I've been trying to be a writer, a paid writer, for 15
How's that
years.
going so far?
Good. It's going
That's
well.
easy.
How do you get into like things like that?
Well, it's weird though. It's Twitter. I mean, it's
wow.
not. That's how I found the comedy guy on Playboy. Someone introduced me to him. They're like, "Oh, you're funny," and then I wrote this piece on Medium that kind of went bonkers. And then,
Right.
Mhm.
On Medium what?
Medium. It's the Medium.com.
Oh, got you.
Yeah.
Another site. Okay.
So I just have my own Medium page.
Gotcha.
I did. It was called Bill Cosby Rate Me.
God.
Kind of.
Perfect.
Because I was, not to jump right into this, but I talk about it openly all the time, and I wrote about it. I was drugged and raped when I was 17, and when all of that, the women were coming out, I was like, ladies, come on, isn't it a little late? And I had to write about my
personal experience,
but my own reaction to that was so weird that I'm like, oh, this is internalized shame that still hasn't really come out yet. So I wrote about that, not really thinking that it went bonkers online.
And that, did they post that on Playboy.com or no?
No, but I think
a little salacious?
I think it just put me on
the map.
On the map as someone who could write, and then I used it as an example of my writing when I pitched to the editor, because there was a piece going around from Vice, and it was like, why I don't suck dick. And I was like, all right, there needs to be
another
rebuttal. Perspective. Yeah. So I pitched that to the comedy guy, and then
it was me.
You do suck.
Not you.
Something you just said was interesting. I know Playboy's lost its identity. I'm proud that we're going on our 6th year on Playboy Radio.
Wow.
#1 show for almost a little over 5 of those years. Our first 3 years were Sirius XM. And we take a lot of pride in what Holly and I do, talking about open relationships, being single, in a relationship, all that stuff. But there's been such a transition where it used to be people wanted to be Playboy because of the writing such as yours and the others and the classy photography.
Right.
Now Playboy's playing catch up, and Vice is actually one of those websites and magazines, printed or not printed, that Playboy hopes to be like in the future.
Right.
Do you see that? What do you think?
They try to go after the same
crowd.
Demographic. Yeah. But
are they doing better?
No, Vice is doing better.
Really? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is Vice doing better?
Well, they're just faster.
Right.
They
have to keep up with the
I think
signs.
you have more resources. These websites have people working 24/7 all weekend. I mean,
less corporate.
Yeah, they're still working normal hours over.
Right.
And taking weekends off. And shit's happening over the weekends politically. And
right.
So you can't say, we want to be political and we want to be on topical,
right.
But you're 2 days behind. Unless you have that, like, you have a massive editorial staff,
right.
You have weekend editors, you have people who are trolling just the news all the time on
real
Twitter.
Or fake, right?
Yeah, you need resources.
News never stops.
You need to be able to, like, invest in that. And
okay, then as a reporter, how do you feel about, and again, this is not a political statement, I do want to get into an article you wrote February 2nd, published on Playboy.com, called Stop Shaming Me for Loving the Super Bowl. But before we talk about that, what do you think of this fake news? Politics aside, I fear it used to be, to me, you're a journalist.
I guess.
From what I've read, I have not, in 6 years, I think I've only said I'm a fan of a very small, not even a handful of people. I'm a fan of your writing.
Thank you.
Because I feel you write the way you think, and people need to read just the tip, right?
Yeah.
To understand what I'm saying about your writing.
But now, I like that better because I like people not being PC. I hate PC.
Yeah.
I think PC is one of the worst things for our community because people hold back too much,
right?
And they're afraid to say. So I want to go back to this.
I could go down a fucking rabbit hole in this conversation right now because it has been interesting. It's been an interesting year and a half writing for.
When you think that, think about fake news. Journalists used to report the news. Now they're going out of their way to make news up, hoping, kind of like throwing shit against the wall and hoping something sticks. Hey,
are they making news up, though?
I feel that from Fox to CNN and everything in between, throw something against the wall, hoping this catches a headline and sticks, and if it doesn't, then they'll retract it later.
So who do you respect as a journalist in, like, the news? Not
Walter Cronkite.
No, currently.
He's dead.
Is that the guy with the ice cream sandwich?
Yeah. That's tough for me. I read from a wide variety of spectrum.
It's the only way to try and find some semblance of a I mean, they used to just report facts, and they would maybe lean a little bit one way or another way.
Exactly.
But now it is blatant, because
you can tell which side they're on.
Right. It's confirmation bias. So because
there you go.
of I believe it all comes back to mediation. So because everything started becoming mediated, all of our experiences, and now it's like they know what our phones know us better than our loved ones.
You wrote something about that, actually. I have your quote right here. Where you say, where is it? What is it about? No, crap, where is it? Do you know what I'm talking about? Where you say algorithms, happily never after the myth of marriage. We'll talk about that. But you wrote, algorithms and cookies that track our every move online end up knowing us better than we know ourselves. and definitely better than our spouses know us.
Right. In some respects, that's true. That's why I love when people are like, we want like full transparency and like the government, and then you're like, okay, hand over your phone, and they're like, never mind.
Right. Right.
Just kidding.
And what's with freedom of speech? We believe that sex and sexuality is a topic that should be discussed. I've said it here before. People are against sex workers because they sell their body, right?
Right.
No one seems to complain about coal miners. Coal miners are selling their body and dying before the age of 42.
Everyone's a whore. We're all whores.
Yes.
Right.
That's what I've always said. We're all whores for someone, and I have no problem with sex workers.
Me neither.
Because who gives a shit?
It's their right.
I'm a libertarian, so I believe in the individual. And that's why I've been trying to find some semblance of reason is hard, because like I was saying, it's mediation. So all of these identity politics came from us virtue signaling, oh, here's what I like, and this makes me a better person. It's tribalism. But now what's happened is, because of confirmation bias, you can find an article that basically backs up whatever you believe.
And that's anecdotal. I mean, I'm not just because I'm getting another PhD. I want to see some kind of... Fact is a funny word, and you probably know this as a writer. You have to be very careful if you state something as a fact.
Right.
Because what is a fact? It's something that's been proven, but anything scientifically proven must be able to be disproven.
Right.
Maybe it's not been, but it's got the possibility of the null hypothesis, meaning it doesn't occur.
Right.
But you look around, and I see women who supported Trump being told they're not really feminism. They don't believe in feminism because they supported Trump. And I see women say, why do we have to classify everybody? Why can't we just get along and agree to disagree? Why can't people love you for always being a Patriots fan, regardless of who Brady, Kraft, and Belichick voted for?
Because it's virtue signaling. That is the narrative that's dominant right now. And this is what's dangerous, is that it slips, this progressivism that slipped into a moral righteousness. So
good point.
That's the danger that I see on the left, which then borders on thought policing and fascism.
Yeah.
That is, you have somebody, you'll have a comedian going out and saying, oh, he's Hitler, blah, 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 and then Milo gets a book deal, and then that same person comes out and says, we need to protest and we need to protest this publisher and boycott this book.
Right.
Well, you know who did that? Remember who used to do those kinds of things to books? You don't get to talk out of both sides of your mouth. Like
exactly.
And
free speech is free speech. We may not like
nice.
hate, but free speech is free speech.
I have an issue too with everyone's screaming that there's science, like, there's a war on science, and then out of the other side of their mouth, gender doesn't determine biology. Well, which fucking one is it?
Right. Right.
You don't get to say there's a war on science when it comes to climate control, but there's a war on science, but there's not when we're talking about gender.
Right.
We get to just say, only 10% of gender is biology and 90% is just nurture.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. 100% agree with you. 100%. What? So go back to this. I feel politics has gone overboard. Boycotting Uber, now from the left. You've got the right talking about boycotting Budweiser.
Right, and these are people, this is their hypocrisy, running around yelling about everyone being snowflake libtards. Shut the fuck up. You guys are just as sensitive. Everyone's sensitive.
Everyone is.
On both sides.
Yes.
Everyone's become so hypersensitive, they need to, get their head out of their ass.
And get a job. Stop going to protest.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think...
You sound like my brother.
Wait, hold on. During the middle of the week... Do these people, if our unemployment rate is really as low as people like to think it was, and I'm not bashing Obama, I'm not bashing Trump, I'm not supporting either, I'm just saying, if our unemployment rate is that low, whose bosses are letting them sit?
That's because unemployment moved to disability.
Right, and they only report the people that can still claim unemployment benefits, not the people that have passed that limit.
And basically, you can get disability for being overweight now. So there's
I need to put on some weight then.
Massive population of people on disability who aren't just disability. Gonna be like, I'm super lazy. Is that a disability?
Right. Yep.
Pockets. I shared with you about Bridget's article, being a diehard Patriots fan. I know many liberals. That's football, yeah, baby. I know many liberals, friends of mine, that are still Patriots fans because they said, hey, football and politics should be separate.
Football has nothing to do with it. It should be like church and state. You should separate the two.
Yeah,
okay, then what about a brand?
To play devil's advocate, though, I would argue, as I did in that article that there is a certain amount of privilege that has afforded us to separate politics from entertainment and sports. And that things always get political when there's unrest. Everything becomes political.
You're right. When there's unrest, I look at as swingers, we're out publicly in an open relationship.
Okay.
We're not protected. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender. They've added the questioning and queer, the Q at the end.
Right.
Protected. Pro-life. Pro-choice. Protected. All those. But as swingers, we are not protected. We can still be fired from jobs. We can still lose.
Maybe
benefits.
not this one.
Maybe not this one, yeah. Mr. Hefner at the first mansion in Chicago had a doorbell to get it in, but over it in Latin it said, do not ring if you do not swing. So he's always been a believer, as I'm sure you've heard about.
So everyone was a little hesitant.
I know.
They're like, oh crap, what are they going to do to me?
And I have to swing?
Right.
What does this mean now? So we're proud, though, and we want to live in a country where we're going to stop with the isms and we're going to stop with the judging. You're right, though. Everything becomes political in a heated environment. I mean, we have Hollywood celebrities, a majority on the left side, a few on the right side, and instead of giving me facts, I feel they're giving me feelings. I don't want to know your feeling.
Yeah.
I don't. I don't look at Tom Brady as a quarterback, probably GOAT, greatest of all time quarterbacks. I will not listen to his political opinion.
No, and he understands that.
Right. That's why he
never
shuts up.
spoke about his political
But
opinion.
Meryl Streep, I think, made an ass out of herself personally at a Democratic National Convention, screaming on stage. I personally think.
Wait. Oh, okay. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I feel.
I thought you were calling the what was the recent award? The Golden.
Oh, the Golden Globes.
The Democratic National Convention.
Yeah.
I was like, same thing.
Same thing. I mean, there is the same thing there. I just want to see. For me personally, again, this isn't pro. I'm not pro Trump. I'm anti-hate. I want to stop the hate.
Right.
Does that make sense? I'm not anti-Trump. I'm pro. Let's build bridges, not divides.
I'm anti-Trump in that I think he, as an individual, is a malignant narcissist with a mental illness. I'm not anti-Trump.
I wouldn't disagree with you there.
I'm not anti-Trump that I lump all of his supporters into that.
Thank you.
I'm pro-America.
Yeah.
I want America to be great, and if he can, then great. If not, he's got 4 years.
I mean, him as a person, it's like, if I was, and again, this is where privilege is something you have to take into consideration. There's a part of me that I look at it, I'm like, this is fucking hilarious. You could not write a movie like this.
At all.
If you wrote this treatment as a movie, you'd be like, this Rex Tillerson, write a real name.
You would.
You can't even write something this
It would
bad.
sound like a porn name. Rex Tillerson.
Horrible. They'd be like, go back to fucking, like, the mailroom, sir.
On Facebook Live, people are commenting, hope to have the freedoms of the LGBTQ one day. Dan wrote that about swingers and those, we call it sex positive.
Right.
We broadcast it from the Sexual Health Expo LA over the weekend. Excuse me, that'll air tomorrow on Dash Radio. Go download the app.
Who gives a shit what anyone's doing?
That's the thing. Who gives a shit,
Who
Veronica?
actually gives a shit?
But unfortunately, people, my ex tried to take full custody of my daughter away from the two of us because we're out.
Oh.
So people give a shit.
What is the
I think
logic, though?
You know what? As the judge said, he had to hear the case because there was no case law. But are you ready for this? He compared it to the LGBTQ, saying what you do in the privacy of your own bedroom and with whom is your business.
Right.
You're not influencing the kids. You're not bringing them into the bedroom. I say this to vanilla, what we say non-open-minded, and those who aren't sex positive. When they say, well, what do you tell your kids? I say, when's the last time you had sex? Well, it's none of your business. Humor me. Tell me.
A month ago.
A month ago. Did you? And then I say, did you tell your kids when you had sex? Why would I tell my kids?
Right.
Bingo. Why would we tell our kids?
Right.
Why would we tell our kids? That's what I say. I agree with you. Politics, I feel it's gone a little overboard. I feel that when we look at consensual non-monogamy, I do want politics to stay out of the bedroom. I do want, I don't think big business has a place in the bedroom, nor do I think politics has a place in the bedroom. But I do believe we're a capitalist environment.
Right.
We want to make money. Sell sex toys. Sell adult entertainment.
Yeah.
Sell Budweiser and take Uber.
Right.
Because they're providing you with service.
Right.
Starbucks, first they go out and they donate a lot to Hillary, but then they get bashed for offering jobs to refugees. I understand blacks wanted the jobs, veterans wanted the jobs. I have one question. Did you apply?
Right.
If you applied and you didn't get accepted, then I understand your anger. But if you didn't apply, I don't understand your
That's
anger.
like the wall. I'm like, who do you think is going to be building this wall?
Right,
It's not
exactly.
going to be a bunch of white dudes.
No.
Right, it's the Mexicans with the order.
Who do you think is really going to be working on this project down there?
I agree.
The manual labor.
I agree. And that's, again, it goes back
If
to...
I were one of them building the wall, I'd probably have like secret secret tunnels somewhere.
Someone just did a stand-up routine about that. They were like, we use tunnels. Like,
Right?
What does he not know about us? We're into tunnels.
And hired gophers to go catch the...
All right, so we talk about modern love. The show's called Modern Love with Holli and Michael.
Mm-hmm.
And to us, that's the mindset you need, the life you deserve. It's for single people, people that are dating, people that are married.
Right.
The LGBTQs, for people that want to call themselves or label. Because labels, we believe in... We don't believe in shaming. We participated in, we're the only show to broadcast from Amber Rose's Slut Walk. We think it's faming, not shaming.
Okay.
Because slut can mean something to different people, and none of it should be negative in our opinion.
Right.
So we believe in faming, not shaming. We believe in swingers, and we're not polyamorous, but we support the polyamorous community.
Of course, we support anyone that has a different lifestyle.
You
Even
know,
regular people that have regular lifestyles, too.
So what do you mean you're not polyamorous, but you're swingers?
So
What's the
swinging
difference, I guess?
is more, it's about the sex. Polyamorous.
and friendships,
Okay.
for some,
Great
for some.
friendships in the lifestyle.
Right.
So polyamorous is where you fall in love with someone else.
Versus falling in like.
And you have like all these polycules and things like that, and you have your wife and your other wife and your girlfriends,
Right.
and they all know about
But there's
each other.
emotional attachment. Now, there are some swingers who can become emotionally attached, but
Right.
wouldn't identify as polyamorous. Polyamorous, if you think of like the Big Love show
I
where
love
he
that
had
show.
multiple wives, but let's say they had,
Sense to me.
let's say they had,
Mormons.
there you go. Oh man, she grew up Mormon until she was 18.
Oh.
But you would have, but the women would have multiple lovers too, possibly.
Right.
You have your main
right,
dyad.
Right.
So let's say Holli and I were the main dyad, and we brought you
No,
in.
I know what poly is. I just
Sure.
wasn't sure what. I guess like
The difference.
swinging is more of a lifestyle, and poly seems to be. It's a lifestyle too, but it's
Right.
not. It's actually more of like a
Emotional.
emotional.
Yeah,
exactly.
Because we do build emotions with our friends. Some of our best friends we have or have not played with, and if we did, maybe it was once or twice, and we don't always play sexually.
Right.
Because it's not, there are sexual swingers, oh, you're drinking water, so am I, let's go fuck.
Right.
Then there's social swingers. You like the Patriots, you know what, I like Brady, and that's what made me like the Patriots. And we talk, we socialize, then maybe we do or we don't.
Right.
So I call one falling in like, I call the other you can fall in love.
Right.
That's
right.
just, and modern love to us is all of that. Just because you have one threesome, does that mean you're a threesomer?
Right.
You run one triathlon. Are you a triathlete?
Right.
Nobody needs to label you, but modern love just brings us all in together. We feel.
Well, I can see why you're very against just the labeling in
Right.
general.
Oh
right
yeah.
now.
Yeah, we've gotten that a lot. But
It's tough.
It is
out
tough.
there.
When you come up with your next article to write, let's go back to that Vice article about why women don't want to give head. How did you rebut that?
I wrote why I love giving blowjobs, and I just said that I understand. I'm not trying to throw women who don't agree with this under the bus
Right.
by any means, because again, I believe in individualism. Whatever you want to do or don't want to do is ultimately, aside from like murdering,
Right.
raising
agree.
children,
I agree.
animals, like,
Bestiality,
who gives a fucking,
pedophilia,
who cares
right.
what
Yeah.
you're doing.
Don't do those things, right?
Because those hurt other beings,
Right.
old people.
Right.
Don't mess with old people. And I mean, not just in bed. I mean, just in general.
Right.
And so then I just said that I feel it's always been empowering. It's always been
Giving
an
a blowjob.
empowering thing to me. And I think a lot of women think of it as degrading.
But you have the essence of the man in your mouth.
yeah,
That's how I feel.
I mean,
agree
you have the
with
power.
You have
Yeah.
the control. I mean, that's his manhood, and he's trusting you with
You
that.
literally have him by the balls.
Yes.
Not
figuratively.
Yeah.
This is science. This is literal.
And I enjoy giving that level of pleasure. I think if you really enjoy it, it comes across. The man can feel that you enjoy
Right.
it if you take your time. But I think a lot of women feel like because of a lot of shit that people are raised with, where that's don't do that, that's degrading,
Right.
by their mom or whatever. That then,
But yet their mom is sucking dick too.
yeah,
Sorry,
not. Maybe
You never
not.
know. You never know.
Mom!
Yeah.
Yeah. In the back of their mind, whether they're aware of that or not, that's playing out, and they're wrestling with those things, and that will signal they'll be hesitant, and they won't really enjoy it, and it'll be something they just want to get through.
Right.
We met. I want to read what Veronica, Christian, and Daryl said, but I'm going to tell you this. We met over the weekend at the Sexual Health Expo in LA when we were with Desires. A woman, 45 years old, who is just now coming into her own sexuality because at 13, A boy sent her a text about going on a date and asked her to ask her parents' permission.
Wait, she's 45?
No,
She's 45 now.
He called her.
There's no way she could have got a text.
No, he called the house.
Oh, sorry, he called. You're right. You guys are right. Sorry. You're right.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, you're right.
Something about this is wrong.
No, you're right. Did she? It was a call?
She got a call.
There's
There
Okay.
was no text.
You're right. There was no texting back then.
Years ago.
God, there wasn't even email that many.
No.
All right, got a call at her house. My bad. And the dad said, no, don't ever call her. Told her, don't ever talk to boys. It has taken her now 32 years to understand
Good math.
that it's okay for her to be a sexual being. And she actually said to her dad, she didn't ask him questions. She said, Dad, that wasn't right. I've spent this many years. It's my fault that it's taken me this long.
Right.
But now at 45, she can get texts now. You're right.
Yeah, now she can text. Maybe it was now.
Now she's just
But isn't that interesting?
swiping motherfucker.
Isn't that interesting, though? What you said is at times we're victims or we're a product of our environment, as you talking about growing up in a very liberal part of the nation, you growing up Mormon.
Mm-hmm. You're not even supposed to give blowjobs when you're Mormon.
You're not supposed to masturbate.
Yeah, you're not supposed to masturbate or give blowjobs. Yeah.
Do you masturbate?
Of course.
I don't understand.
Monster.
Who doesn't?
I don't understand how a woman can understand her own body if she doesn't know what parts of her body get pleasured.
Yeah. But that's, again, a lot of
A
shame.
taboo.
It is.
Shame, yeah.
Let me read here what Veronica said. Polyamory has just as many dynamics as swinging. Both are adult alternative lifestyles with and without emotions. It all depends on the people involved, just like swinging. Totally agreed.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Christian Love said, labels in general in all aspects of life make it difficult for those not affiliated with that label to understand or relate to. Great point. I think you make this in a number of your articles, Bridget. Hence, why so many vanilla people, non-open-minded, non-sex positive,
as we label them, ironically.
Hence, why so many vanilla people clump all swingers and poly and fetish people together. So when you don't understand it, you tend to clump everyone together.
Sure.
We're kind of clumping everyone in modern love or consensual non-monogamy, which are generic terms. But when you write, you kind of have to use a label at some point.
Well, it's the first thing we do. It's how we learn
group.
language.
Right, we group.
But not even with people. It's like door, microphone.
Right.
Everything's labeled.
Everything's labeled.
It's how we make sense of the world.
Listen, if you're Monica Bean, you have a label maker. You ever watch Friends?
Yeah.
We are friends tonight.
Yeah.
I want to talk about is posting sexy selfies. Now, I know this isn't supposed to be just let's toot Bridget, but you are a phenomenal author.
Oh.
Your writing is amazing.
Never going to get comfortable with that.
Let's talk again before I forget. So we're at SwingTime69 on Twitter and Michael Pockets on Facebook. How can people find you off air?
I pretty much live on Twitter. I'm on every social media, but I don't use them all. So I squat on them so that someday I'm not like, there's this crazy, anti-Bridget Phetasy Instagram.
So what's your Twitter?
It's at Bridget Phetasy, BRIDGET, and then PHETASY. And I mean, people might go and scroll down, but I have the auto delete every week on my Twitter because
that's funny.
Well, because I treat it like our president, and it's very emotional
there
reactions.
You go. Okay,
and so
fair.
I don't want that out there forever because it's not necessarily the way I'm going to feel. Sometimes I use Twitter as like a litmus test for my audience, and I'll say something that's inflammatory just to see what the holes in my own thinking might be, or to look at a perspective that I haven't looked at. Because I'll get hit with here's this article and here's that, and I like that. I embrace that.
I wish I could say that's so American, but lately that's so un-American.
I know, right?
I mean, I wish more of our society in the USA would do that.
No, people are scared, and they're
scared to hear.
They're scared in general because there is unrest, and no one really knows which way this marble is going to roll. Not that we ever did. The problem is that Americans have been in a stupor. This is my opinion, a stupor of security.
Right.
Because we've had things so good, better than probably any humans ever to
First
live on
world
the
problems.
fucking planet.
Right. First world problem.
And now there's unrest that's affecting us at home.
Right.
It's been all over the world forever.
Exactly.
And now they're freaking out. They don't know how to deal with it. And the most natural way is to double down on your beliefs and
blame
tribe up with people and blame someone else and hunker down and throw rocks at each other.
Now, as swingers, we are a community that bonds together. We don't vote as a block. We've been asked that before. Do you guys vote as a block? We're in the lifestyle. We're swingers. I agree with you, though. A lot of us, not in the sense of doubling down. Holly and I are out, many others, whether they're the CEO of the company or a teacher for a public school system. They can't be out,
Right.
as we shared earlier. But there are a lot of things they like to do. Here you talked about, is posting sexy selfies okay when you're in a relationship? For Holly and I, it is okay because we're in an open relationship.
Well, that's the terms were set.
Right.
Right.
The rules and boundaries up front.
Right, and I think that's true with any relationship, whatever you are, whoever you are, whatever the situation is. If suddenly someone starts posting sexy selfies while you're in a relationship when they never did that, I would say, yeah, that's an issue.
You should question that person.
If somebody starts dating me and they Google my name and see that I've been doing this for years, go fuck yourself. I'm just being me.
Can I quote you?
Sure.
Your exact quote from that article, which I love, I told you this. About being in a relationship, committed relationship, and posting sexy selfies. You said, quote, "My freedom of expression was more important to me than a loving relationship." Is that still how you feel, or was that with just that guy?
No, I think that it's funny. I was at this sounds like such a just douchebag thing to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. When I was on this ashram in Australia, I was there was like a guru, and he did my runes, which for those of you who don't know what runes are, it's kind of a divination method. It's like tarot cards.
Yeah, you had me at did you, but okay.
And so he did my runes, and he said that my life goal, that the runes that he read, my life goal was to balance love and freedom. That I value freedom more than anything, and I see love as an impingement to freedom.
Wow.
Interesting.
And that has played out to be true. He said I should read a lot of Sufi poetry, like Rumi, for instance, because their symbol is actually the heart with wings. Mm-hmm. And they believe, I think polyamory falls in.
Absolutely.
I've definitely been exploring in the past, 5. I'm very open with just exploring all types of sexuality.
How many threesomes have you had?
I can't count how many I've had. I mean, more than I could count.
Okay,
Yeah.
because when you were doing research for your article, you shared you went on what was Thrinder, now called Field.
Field.
Field, F-E-E-L-D, or is it F-E-I-D?
I think it was kind of like playing a field. I don't know what
but it's
they were
F-E-E.
thinking. Yeah.
So had you participated in threesomes prior to that article, or was it?
Oh yeah, but I didn't participate in any from that.
Really?
That, I only was dipping my toe in and interviewing people, and they were interviewing me. But nothing. Like the guys got so fucking aggressive.
Really? The guys?
The guys would get so pushed. They would be like, "Are you gonna call us?" Like, because I think if they find a woman, a unicorn who's open to it, they get kind of thirsty. And you're like, "Whoa, back off!"
They do.
And the problem with couples in general that I've experienced is that I started feeling just like this. A sex toy, essentially, like an object. I was being
which can be good if you like it. It can be good if that's what you're looking for.
And I don't know that I necessarily even knew what I was looking for. I think I was more curious about this app that now made this. It's technology changes everything. But I did fall into an open marriage when I was on. I was working somewhere, and it was very organic, and I just became almost this second wife.
Wow.
And
which is more poly.
Very, and it was it felt so tribal and so amazing and natural in a lot of ways. Like it made sense to me in the way that we lived, I think, for thousands of years before we were like
before agriculture.
Monogamous.
Well, which really was agriculture if you think about it. That we were separating.
Started it.
Sex at Dawn is a wonderful book. Not everything in there do I agree with, but there's a lot that I feel we can relate to. Mm-hmm. Have you read Sex at Dawn?
I need to read it.
It's one of those books that again
everyone's like, you have to read that.
Yeah, you'll draw some from it.
But there's a lot of stuff that's not
exactly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that I no. But I do understand, and I feel it still pertains to today. The hunters were who the women wanted to have sex with because reproducing created stronger babies.
Yeah.
But they were the ones that hunted and protected. And those who were, for lack of a better word, smart and knew how to build the things, well, those were the ones that could protect me in the sense and make me feel safe. Mm-hmm. And we still see that. I'm not labeling, I'm not classifying, I'm not being this or that, but I do think we still see that today. Women, in my opinion, no one should cheat. They cheat up.
Right.
In their opinion. Men seem to cheat down.
Right.
And cheating's wrong in all senses of the word.
Right. Yeah.
But you go back to it takes a village to raise a family. It's because back then you didn't know who the dad was.
Yeah, yeah.
And your kid could be related to that kid. So everybody, whether it was, not to be gross, breastfeeding, other people's kids, or helping raise them, the village raised them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I mean, and a lot of, they were saying that monogamy, I was reading an article, well, that it actually came down, the reason that it's been put, that men have always been allowed to get away with more infidelity than women is that it's essentially like who gets the goats. It comes down to which there before DNA testing, there was no way to know whose son that was.
Right.
And so women would get stoned, and I sometimes wonder if, you know, they say, I don't know what the most current science is, I should look into it, that women are generally more monogamous than men, just by...
Statistically, not anymore.
Okay.
The numbers are getting so close now where you're looking at maybe 49 to 51 for men. You could be looking at 53 to 47.
I wonder if that didn't evolve as self-protection. So now that it's more acceptable for both people to cheat, and because of science and DNA testing, women are less as not monogamous as men, but before it was almost like, I'll die if I cheat. So I'm going to get
stoned or something. Isn't that scary though? And I talk about that when I look at consensual non-monogamy. Call it whatever you want. But it really comes down to having the permission of your partner for the two of you to do things within your rules and boundaries versus cheating. You cheated? Oh, go say you're sorry. Go to therapy. Everything will be fine. That's how people respond to cheating. Wait. Pockets. You invite women over that you meet on Tinder or Adult Friend Finder or Swingy or what used to be Thrinder, and you have sex with them, and Michael has sex with them, and you... How can you do... They degrade Holly and I...
Right.
For being open in our sexual, we're 100% emotionally monogamous.
Right.
But sexually, we share.
Right.
I don't think I have the ability to love another.
Right.
Maybe LUV, but not LOVE.
Right.
So it's interesting, and go back to what you were sharing. Most of the research shows women cheat for emotional reasons.
Right.
Men for physical.
Right.
And the scary thing is, and I just saw a new number on this, when asked, married men and women, if they would cheat knowing they would never get caught, 87% of men said yes, and 83% of women said yes.
That doesn't surprise me.
No.
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
I couldn't live with myself.
So why not just be in an open relationship?
Right.
Because that's terrifying to most people. Because
I think a lot of people don't want their spouse to do what they're doing.
So have your cake and eat it too?
Of course.
What do you think, Bridget? I mean, think of all the articles you write, because you do have one, Rules for Hooking Up When You're Home for the Holidays, Happily Never After, The Myth of Marriage. These are amazing articles. Is it that people are afraid, based on insecurity, in your experience, do you think the man and or the woman is too insecure to open the marriage up? And if you think about when you were part of that threesome.
Question. I mean,
I
it
get
got...
paid for those.
It got... No, it's a good question.
Thank you.
I think there's a lot that plays into it.
Right.
And it probably varies from couple to couple.
Absolutely.
I don't know, as I said in Happily Never After, I don't think that a lot of people go into cheating. It's not something that's intentional, it's something that happens.
So do you believe they're just tempted and they don't know how to resist temptation?
I mean, and when I was the other woman, I think probably one of the greatest loves of my life, that just, we met at a random, like a festival type thing, and
right.
Then it was like, it felt like karma to me. It felt like something that was bigger than me, that needed to happen, and now he's back, and I think it forced him to recommit to his marriage, and and forced him to really ask himself some questions.
Right.
Did
they stay together?
It changed my life. Yeah, they're still together.
Did she learn about you?
No.
Okay.
No. Not as far as I know.
All right. I do believe in...
But I also think your secrets keep you sick, and I don't know how happy he is.
There are three things that can never stay hidden. The truth, the moon, and the sun.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot who said that, but it's a quote you and I use a lot.
Right.
It is cool.
Dan, Aristotle. I was like, that's really deep.
Yeah.
Like, that was
that's
Play-Doh.
not me.
Yeah.
Yeah, not Play-Doh, Play-Toe.
Play-Doh.
Dan said that the wife and I feel monogamy is not natural. It has been learned. And I agree. When you read Sex at Dawn, when you look at things like monogamish, we started out, I believe a secure me creates a strong we. People have said, because we're situational full swap. You're far more...
I think guy.
So she prefers women far more than men. And a lot of it has to do with, we have our rules. One of Holly's biggest rules is don't go near...
Her butthole.
Don't go near her butthole. With a hand, finger, nothing. And guys seem to think that just means everyone else can't go near it, but I can.
Uh-huh.
So right away, we're in the middle of a play situation. Honey, we have to go. And I know, somebody tried to go near her butt. Because we'll get up and leave. We literally will. And that's why we tend to play more with single women, because they don't tend to violate either of our rules.
Right.
Don't text me behind her back. Don't text her behind my back. Don't ask me to do something when Holly's not around.
Right.
It's those kind of things. But you look at monogamy, I believe monogamy has a halo effect. When you grew up Mormon, you were told a perception or a belief of monogamy based on their belief, based on religion, based on who taught it to them, based on their belief in religion, going back for generations, right? And it's got a halo effect because I don't think it really works the way we have it. I feel you should be able to role play with your partner.
Yeah.
You don't have to include anybody else. You should be able to share fantasies with your partner and not have your partner say, well, are you wishing I was that person? No, I pretended you were a school teacher, for
I
Christ's
think
sake.
this is why it's so hard, though, because it is easier to put yourself in a box and stay there,
Right.
and defend that box. Again, we come back to the same thing: double down on your beliefs instead of saying, "All right, I think open relationships force you to evolve and grow in ways that you aren't foreseeing. And that's not saying that in a monogamous relationship, you know, somebody once said to me, you can go deep or go wide in life with relationships, which I loved. Where I do know it is rare. I do know couples who they met, they fell in love, they only had eyes for each other, they only wanted to be with each other, and it was that way until the day they died, and they died 4 days apart, or, you know, like...
There is that
exists.
such. Absolutely.
And then I think there are times in a marriage where you're struggling, and you both made that commitment, and you both want to be monogamous, and you might be having a rough patch, and the kids are teenagers, and everything's going to shit, and you need to... Before you open up your marriage out of a last-ditch effort...
Yeah, because it won't save anything. It will destroy you.
Of course.
It will destroy you.
That's the thing. I think if people... It's like having a baby when you're having an issue.
It'll
Opening up
everything.
your marriage when you're having an issue. If you're not both calmly, centeredly, wholly as a team going into this saying, this is something we both want to explore, not because our marriage is suffering. Our marriage is strong, and we just... But I think a lot of people do go into it out of this last-ditch effort to save a marriage, and then it's like, throwing gasoline on a fire.
Yeah.
If there's cracks in the foundation of your marriage, they will be exposed if you open it up, whether you're having a threesome with a man or a woman, or, hey, I did this for you, now you have to do that for me. Having a baby, when a couple has a baby to save their relationship, it's the same thing with the sitcom. When they introduce a baby, they're trying to save the sitcom.
It's like jumping the shark.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I could say one of our friends who does reality TV, the only reason they had a second baby was because they wanted another season.
Right.
They love that baby, but they weren't going to have it right away.
Right.
And it was because they wanted another season on Isn't that sad?
It's pretty sad.
It's so fucking sad.
And we wonder why we are where we are.
Right.
Like, people are literally having babies to get
another season.
Well,
Paul said that temptations and not being able to resist plays the biggest role when cheating, like I had mentioned. What do you guys think of? I've often said people are only as faithful as their options available.
Oh, well, my friend Henny, who died, said that. Rest in peace. I loved him. He was the best Egyptian sage. And he said, he used to wag his finger, you're only as loyal as your options.
Right.
So how do you eliminate your options to your...
You mean, how do you eliminate the temptations?
Yeah. It's
communication.
Impossible.
No. I feel it's the same thing when you buy real estate. Location, location, location. I am not saying that people have to be swingers or polyamorous or play with others. But the way I feel you resist temptation in life is communication, communication, communication with your partner. If you and I, we are in an open relationship, and you're a beautiful woman, and intellectually you're beautiful too. If you were okay, I'm not saying it's going to happen, I'm saying if we played with you, it's because we both agree to it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But let's say my crush because of the writing you do or whatever it is, it wouldn't be right for me to go behind your back and communicate with Bridget. So I may be tempted, but how do I alleviate that temptation? By communicating with you.
But not a lot of people can just be like, hey, I kind of am attracted
I feel like
to her.
cheating.
Right.
Well, that doesn't happen in relationships.
But I'm not saying I feel like cheating. What I'm saying is
I find
something...
Your version of what you're explaining is I'm understanding.
I find her attractive. I find something about her pretty. And even if we weren't in an open relationship, but we were open to communicating, what I guess I'm trying to articulate is, if I'm safe to share that with you, we can discuss it. Right. Because you can then ask me without hate, does that mean you might be tempted to do something behind my back?
I think you're more able to share that with her because you're in an open relationship.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
Right.
I agree.
So average person
no
is not
normal
do that.
couple is like, I can't imagine any of the normal couples I know who might be feeling like cheating, sitting down with their spouse and saying, I feel like I might be.
Then why are they willing to risk? Think of all the writing you do in a future
That
article.
is such human. I mean,
right.
Why?
So you risk it all.
Why?
You'll risk it all.
Why are humans
right.
dumb? That's like asking why are humans idiots?
Well, I guess you can look at why do we jump out of planes,
Yeah,
perfectly good planes with a parachute on? Because it's an adrenaline
I don't
rush.
think you can answer that question.
You're right.
It's just, it's never going to happen. It's never going to be like just, you know what, let's talk about this. I find this girl
I
at work
think it
attractive.
can be. I think it can be once the initial shock is over. A woman comes home and says to her husband, or a husband comes home and says to his wife, or boyfriend, girlfriend, hey, you know, you're right. You both are right.
Yeah.
I don't see a society where we can acknowledge temptation, but if we could acknowledge it and talk through it, aren't we happier?
Well, yeah.
I think jealousy is always going to overcome.
But jealousy can be healthy if you work
regardless
together.
of how society moves along.
Can't you make jealousy a positive, though, if you
Of course
work
you can.
through it together?
Of course you can.
I think so.
I agree.
I think it's got to be there for a reason.
Yeah.
That feeling exists.
Insecurity inside you, and the jealousy, remember,
You know, it's,
envy is wanting what someone else has. Jealousy is being willing to take it.
but
if you
know
think
what?
about
I
it.
think it's just in us to be jealous. If you think about, even animals are jealous. I'll hold one of my dogs in my hand, and
yeah.
my other dog gets jealous, and he comes and tries to get
I
on
know.
my
I
lap.
was
just
thinking it's
in
funny
us.
Okay,
watching dogs
Did you
interact.
did you feel jealousy when you were part of that throuple? We'll call it a throuple, the three of you.
No.
Okay.
I didn't feel, you know, I do stand up about this because I also do stand-up comedy, and I have a joke where I'm like, I'm fine with being the other woman, which is
Right.
not okay as well. But I'm fine being the other woman. It's like I'm not jealous of the wife, but there
Right.
better not be another other woman. I'll get like insane. I want to be the
Right.
most special other woman.
Right.
And I think that at the root of jealousy is that feeling of wanting to be special.
Right.
I think that's
Okay.
where it comes from.
And can that, I feel when we play with women in threesome situations, you and I make sure I feel special and the woman feels special.
That was what I was
make sure
liking.
you feel special and she feels special, and she makes sure both of us feel special.
Right.
So
It's
I get the short
synergistic.
bus up front.
Yeah, exactly. It's synergistic.
And I felt that was lacking, and I wrote about this in that article I said at the end. I felt like I was making sure she was okay, I was making sure he was okay, and never once was anyone like, how
Making
are
sure
you
you
doing,
were okay.
Bridge? Yeah.
Yeah.
No one ever ate my pussy. No one ever...
Really?
Oh my
No.
God.
We would never come up for air if we could breathe
Yeah,
out of
I
our
mean-
ears. Seriously, if we could breathe out of our ears, we would both, one's going to take the upper clit, the lower clit. We're going to go after your clit in many different directions.
And I
This is-
felt like I was a buffer for their relationship. So, and then the more that I talked to her, because she and I became very close, and it was like a sisterhood.
Right.
Sister-wife.
Sister
and
wife.
wifehood. And I realized that they never really had that conversation.
Wow.
It was like, here's what I need, and we're going to do this. And then...
Here's what they need.
No,
Did
he
you-
was like, here's what I need.
But missing there is, here's what we. I believe we're a we, not a
And
me.
I know, but I think that it was
Gotcha.
more. From my sense is that there was not very much. She didn't have much of a say. I mean, she did.
Oh.
It wasn't
Her
like.
only thing was she could have left. That's it. That's a huge deal.
Well, yeah.
Because in ours, I'm very
That's
dumb.
pretty dramatic. Like,
I mean, I don't know that. I just sense that there was never a conversation
Right.
about boundaries, about rules. Like I was like,
For
what
the
are the
three of
rules?
you
what are
mean?
you okay with?
For the three
with
of you.
them, because
Gotcha.
I was not the first person that came down the pipeline. I
For
was like
threesomes.
the fifth in their marriage.
Did you come often? You said came down the pipe. Did you come often?
I did come a lot.
All right, good, good. I want you to come. I want you to come.
Yeah. Orgasms are important.
We have our rules and boundaries.
yeah,
When
but
we played.
we set that up. Like,
Yes.
if
But
you,
that's what I mean. I think that was never set up.
right. He
I
set up.
probably did more to define it, and and they had been in this kind of scenario for like 5 years,
Do you think-
and I had been probably the first one who was like, "What is what are the rules?"
Right.
Like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, what do you mean?
What do you
What do
mean?
I mean? That's
Right.
like fucking polyamory 101.
Yep,
Right.
you're right. That's open. To me, that's
Any
sex
open.
positive, open-minded 101. Have some rules. Have it a we, not a me. Because like you had said earlier, this will destroy you
There's going to
if
be
you're doing it for
resentment
selfish
on her
reasons.
part. She
There's
doesn't.
just, I think, yeah.
It's
a lot of
just,
resentment.
it's crazy. Holli and Michael, Playboy Radio, powered by Dash Radio, Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. You can stay in touch with us at SwingTime69 on Twitter. Michael Pockets on Facebook. Bridget, I'm going to let you say yours on Twitter. You are?
Bridget Phetasy.
Phetasy. Go to ours. We have
Phetasy.
Phetasy?
Phetasy.
Phetasy.
What
Phetasy.
is that?
Say that.
You can get to her, not necessarily through us, because, we're not the buffer, but right on at SwingTime69, you will see Bridget's contact information and all that kind of good stuff. Excited. Next Sunday, you and I will be broadcasting from and speaking and then partying at the X Club. Go to thexclub.com. February 11th, Valentine's celebration in Toronto. Then in March, youngswingersweek.com. It's the end of March. It may be sold out, but check to see if there are any cancellations. Again, youngswingersweek.com will be broadcasting, speaking, introducing our Triple T seminars, Time to Touch. Because we always believe it's time to talk, and then we have to learn how to touch. And not just to get someone off, but to get them to a point where they want to get off with you time and time again. So youngswingersweek.com, then wildwomenvacations.com, and the Playful Pussycats have us for the 3rd year in a row back in Jamaica, the end of April. Go to wildwomenvacations.com. The 21st and 22nd, so we're going to fly from here to Rochester.
Yes.
We'll be appearing and speaking at the Rochester Erotic Arts Festival for Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday we leave for Jamaica, but go to satincheekdreams.com for that. It's all on the website. And then Desire Venice Cruise at the end of September. Don't forget that. Unbelievable. Going from Venice, Italy to Bologna, then 2 stops in Croatia, 1 in Slovenia. We'll be speaking. We'll be broadcasting. We've got some incredible themed events. And this is an everything optional cruise, Bridget. This is not a swinger cruise.
Okay.
This is a sensual cruise.
I just want you to know, when we're in Italy, they speak Italian. When we go to Slovenia, they speak Slovenian.
Please share why that is. Please share why that is.
We went to Rome for a few days.
I speak Italian, so I'm speaking Italian.
He's speaking Italian, and then we go to Greece, and he's still speaking
I'm
Italian.
forgetting I'm in Greece. I'm forgetting I'm in Greece.
know they speak a different language.
All right, so we have just a little bit of time left. 73 days until April in Jamaica. Thank you, Michelle, for reminding us. I know, I love it. She's got the countdown on going. Love, love, love it. We talk a lot about body image, and part of sexual health is, I believe, loving yourself. Now, you talk about posting sexy selfies. You also did an article, I think I'm addicted to sexting. What's your naked manifesto? What do you feel about sexting and these sexy selfies? What is that about? Because body image is important, and you have to love yourself, I feel, before you put that out there. And you get validation.
It's interesting. People always think, when I don't do it as often as I did. And that's 2 parts. One is that I'm not feeling very comfortable in my own skin lately because I have body dysmorphia.
I have body dysmorphia too.
I mean, it's rampant.
That's where you don't see yourself the way others see you.
Yeah, and I know it's interesting. I just went and worked with a trainer. We did my numbers, and it's like I'm perfectly normal,
right?
But I'm not 23 anymore. I'm not like a scrawny little waif, and so I am looking at that because I want to get. I think a lot of why I was posting sexy selfies was I had so much shame around my sexuality growing up.
Do you think you wanted validation?
No, I think I was just pushing my own limits of
stretching your own boundaries.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Just finding, and then the validation makes me uncomfortable, honestly.
So compliments make you uncomfortable?
Any kind of compliment.
In bed, out of bed, both?
I mean, you see, even when you're complimenting my writing, I'm like, just like, move on.
All right, so then let's move to another topic so you don't have to be uncomfortable.
No, that's fine. I'm saying I think it was important for me to do because I became comfortable in my body.
Okay, and that's awesome. And Michelle's talking about that too, that it's liberating when you do post a pic.
It was so liberating.
Regardless.
And it was me. I mean, I wrote, you can read my whole manifesto.
Better than medicine, better than therapy, she said. The way it can be liberating.
What defines perfection in a body? Because think about, in the Greek times, the bigger you were, the more healthy you were because you had more money.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that was sexy. So now it's like stick thin.
Yeah. All right, I want, you've got to come back. There's so much more I want to talk about. But before we lose time today, I want to get to another article you wrote. What are your views now on pegging? And for those who don't understand, pegging is when a woman straps one on and dominates a man from the back. Yep, right up the poop shooter. So, you wrote an article on that. Have you experienced it? Have you done it?
No, I haven't.
What's your thoughts?
I can, like I said, I can get behind it, I guess.
No pun intended.
At first it was, it was something that was, I write a lot about that I try to start all of my pieces with a question that I have for myself sometimes, and then I try to explore that openly with my reader, so that I'm never comfortable with the idea of having an author. Like you said, what's wrong right now with the label? I feel that everybody is in this place of I know what's best for you.
So you have to listen to me. I know better than you.
I know. I don't want to ever come from that place. Even though I'm an author and there's authority inherent in the fact that I have the ability to write, that doesn't mean I know. I just want to explore and make you think so that you can come to some kind of realization about what you know.
Isn't that though? Okay, then let's go back to what we started. Isn't that journalism?
I think
presenting an argument based on your belief, asking others to make a decision for themselves. And we are so lazy as a society that instead of formulating our own opinion, oh yeah, that sounds good. Oh wait, that sounds good too. But maybe that sounds good. Ah, crap, I can't think for myself.
Right.
So when you wrote about pegging...
I wasn't sure. When I first started that piece, I was kind of... I had to face my own internalized kind of homophobia that I didn't even know I had. I grew up in the East Coast where it's like, if a guy wants something in his butt, he's gay.
Right. Well, I agree.
Like, that's just what I was raised with. Yeah. Like, I want something in his butt, he's gay.
You wrote this, and I want to tell you that Pockets and I talked, we agree. You can be... There are many, many straight men that love ass play.
Yeah, clearly.
They love it. The prostate is supposed to provide orgasms for men nothing else can compete with. Yeah. I don't desire to try it. It's just, and it's not a homophobia. It's a, I don't want anything up my poop shooter because it might smell when it comes out. Plus, when I was younger, I had to have a prostate exam. And I understand it was medical versus having sex with pockets in a position and her sticking a pinky in my stinky. I just don't want it.
Do you, so nothing near your butt, so you guys are united and you're nothing near my butt?
I'm allowed to go in other women's butts.
Oh.
I'm allowed to have anal sex with other women.
Oh yeah, that's fine, but not mine.
But she doesn't want it. And then of course wash the condom off. I mean,
but you don't want anything in your butt either.
Me? No.
Neither one of us.
One of my closest friends loves prostate stimulation. 6'9", 270. Real man.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't care if he was gay, bi, straight, whatever, but he's straight. 6'9", 270, loves prostate stimulation.
But this is what I've loved about this column, is that I've been able to put, a question out to people. What is your experience? And then I get these long emails, and when I was reading about people's experience with pegging men, it was like, whoa, this does sound pretty cool.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, I think it's something that would be interesting, and
and it doesn't mean you're cuckold. It doesn't mean you're submissive. Dominant men can still enjoy that.
Oh yeah.
And dominant doesn't mean control or pain. It's all different levels. So
I think it's our job to push ourselves outside of our comfort zone as humans, because that's where you learn.
That's exactly ourselves.
Not other people.
Right.
Ourselves.
Unbelievable. Bridget, I hope you had a good time and you're willing to come back very soon.
Yeah, I love it.
What is the name of your podcast and where can people find it?
Oh, it's called Benched Podcast. So my friend comedian Ken Gar and we were both 38 and we are both divorced and we're both on the bench of dating, so we call it. And we started just talking to each other, and now we have guests. I would love to have you two on, actually.
We would be proud to come on with you.
I would love it. We do it from the Comedy Store basement.
Love it.
Yeah, we talk to different people in different stages.
Awesome.
And
well, I think you have our number, so you don't have to go through Jen, our assistant. Just come directly, no pun intended, go directly through us. We would be proud to have you join us again.
Yeah,
this has been eye-opening. I do want to admit once more, I'm a huge fan of your writing.
Thanks.
And I only ask that you continue to write because you provide some great insight and thought-provoking articles for Playboy.com. Just the tips?
Playboy.com, but I also got moved into the magazine as the advisor in October. So
you're the Playboy advisor now. I love it. If you do go to Playboy.com, go to a little what's a magnifying glass? Type in Bridget's name and all your articles.
The search engine?
The search engine. But it's like a magnet.
It's also in my bio on Twitter. If you go to my at Bridget Phetasy, it's right in my bio.
It's all there.
It's just my author page. So
Playboy Radio's Holly and Michael. Modern Love, powered by Dash Radio. The highest compliment you can give us is refer your friends to Dash Radio. It's free to download, free to listen, and commercial free. Same thing with Bridget. Benched the podcast. Check it all out on her Twitter page. You can find her Twitter page through us. Baby?
Yeah.
I want to go another hour.
Have a blast.
They won't let us though, because there's so much going on here. Playboy, are you ready?
Yep.
Swing. We love you, family. Thank you, Bridget.
Thank you.
All right, I'll keep talking while we have Daniel come. I don't know how to turn this off. I don't know how to turn this off. Yeah. Thank you, everybody on Facebook Live.
Thank you.
Yes. And Bridget,
go
seriously, go page. Well, you can't go any further this year. What did you think when, only because we have to wait for this to turn off, what did you think when Brady was, when Goodell reached over to Brady?
When he booed?
Well, he got booed incredibly.
Oh, when he got booed? It was
but did you see where he tapped Brady before they got up on the stage and he said that was awesome?
Yeah.
That was the lip reading, supposedly. That was awesome.
Yeah.
I thought Brady handled it like a gentleman.
He is a gentleman.
Kraft was
hysterical.
hysterical.
That's the thing that's so frustrating about Brady is that he's like, he'll be so humble. You know, he's insanely competitive, but he's ultimately a really good stand-up
I've heard
guy.
from my friends that play in the league that not only that, he's a gentleman to competitors when the game's over, and he's a great father.
Yeah.
And I can't, no one talks about what type of husband he is because they may not have seen that, but they see him with his kids and the way he talks about his kids and all that stuff. Is Daniel coming?
I think
cool.
that attitude of like, if you're best, even if you're the best
when
player,
you're the GOAT,
I can get cut at any time, it trickles down through the whole,
And he makes other players around him better. You got Gronk that went out.
Yeah.
But Edelman and Morris, all these guys step up because, like Michael Jordan, I'm not hating on LeBron. LeBron uses a different type of motivation.
Yeah.
Whereas to me, Jordan kind of would throw you under the bus once in a while, but Brady throws you the pass.
Yeah.
And you got to give credit where credit's due. You really do. It's like the Cubs coming back from a 3-1. I'm a huge Cub fan.
I was very happy about that.
Since we're still live on Dash, I didn't want to end it.
He's supposed to be coming.
I know. And Bridget's got some good things. So what's it like back in New England for everybody? They just
oh God, they're like gonna flood the streets for the parade.
When's the parade?
I think probably over the weekend normally is when they have it, or I don't know. Maybe it's like tomorrow.
And let's go back to something you said. The Playboy Advisor is still part of the magazine.
It is.
And you are now answering those questions. I did have one I wanted to.
I am.
So I know somebody wrote you while we're waiting. I'll just tell you this one. Somebody wrote you recently on the Playboy Advisor. What was it? Men and crying. Something about men and crying, I think it was.
I wrote that one.
You wrote that article. There was something, as a Playboy Advisor, you wrote about recently, too.
Oh, really?
I don't know. We'll do that next time, though, for sure. Dan Daniels here. I kept talking, so there was no dead air. Is that okay?
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do. Dan Daniel, you want to end Playboy, Facebook Live?
Yes.
Love you all. Peace out.
Bye.
Thank you. All right. Dan Daniel's going to close us out here. I think we're going to go. You close me out whenever.